months into venture capital, early stage between seed, Series A and Series B mainly. And I'd like to share a story, one of my experience with you, just to show you why I'm so engaged. I'm so happy to be in this industry and what motivates me from day to day. And it's just one example of having worked with a company. It's actually not a company from our portfolio. It's a company that I coached as a coach from InnoSwiss, the Swiss innovation agency from the Swiss state. So I don't have any interest in that company. I wasn't even able to invest since I was a coach. The state forbid me to invest. And so it was about 5 years ago when I was in that old-fashioned coffee in Aarau, a little city of Aarau, and I met Roberto, an Italian guy, very young, fresh from INSEAD University, and he showed to me a little teddy bear, and he said that this little teddy bear is going to revolutionize parenting. And I felt like, well, I have 3 kids at home, I have lots of teddy bears, they have all of different kinds of features, but I was wondering what this teddy bear could do, what our teddy bears couldn't. So he said, look, there's a microphone on the nose of this teddy bear, and there's these LEDs on the eyes of the teddy bear. And what it does, it listens to the babies as they cry. And when they cry, the teddy bear, through its LEDs in different colors, tells the parents whether the baby is hungry, is sleepy, is gassy, has pain, or is just feeling uncomfortable. And I thought, like, this is a joke. And he told me a bit about it. He showed me some studies about it, some research, and I realized, okay, this is actually it's actually a fact that babies can communicate from the day they are born 5 basic needs. And the fun thing is they do that in the same way here in Switzerland as they do it in China or in Canada. So babies, they could actually communicate about their needs. They could talk about if they have the same problem, both are hungry. The problem is no one understands, and they cannot help each other. But so I started to find this interesting, and Roberto assembled a team to work on it. On an algorithm, on an AI algorithm, to help them translate this into a model that can predict pretty precisely what the need of the baby was. And that, of course, was a big thing, big hurdles, lots of problems. And when you invest at that stage, there's a huge risk of that thing, going to fail. I mean, of course, it could be management, it could be technology. It could be that no one really wants to use such a product, or no one wants to pay for it. That's early stage, and they actually managed to develop that algorithm so that it became pretty good with respect to the predictions that it made, and giants like Philips or Canada-based Dorel knocked on the door of the company, were interested in the technology. And what happened now, 5 years later, actually both Dorel and Philips, in their top line product, in a premium product of the baby monitor. So for those who don't have a baby, it's basically the little device you put next to the baby, and it listens to the baby, and when he cries, you hear it on a different device that you carry with you, or today you hear it through your mobile phone. And so that technology is embedded in those top-line devices. So that's a huge success for that company. And still, is the risk gone? Of course not, no, because when you invest now, the company is much more expensive, and there is still risk because Philips and Dorel, they might just use this feature in order to be able to sell the product for $10 more. But in the end, we still don't know whether parents are going to like this in the long term. So there's still risk. But what happened in the meantime, because that all took a couple of years, the company worked on research on what else they could do with analyzing the baby cry. And they found out that there's other research indicating that there's a correlation between the way babies cry and certain pathologies, mental illnesses. And so they invested in that. They're working with a number of hospitals and research institutions, and it looks like that they're going to be able to transform, to introduce a pretty revolutionary tool with respect to pediatric diagnosis. And that's a pretty big thing, and there's even more fantasy about that company now, so you think it could become more valuable. You can invest now, but there's still the risk, because you need to put more money in, the valuation is higher, and we don't know where it's going. And why I'm telling this story is sometimes you're being carried away by a nice story, by a great product, something that takes your emotions or captures your emotions, and no matter in which stage you invest, you always have to make sure to be disciplined, to think in portfolios, to invest into, Zoundream is the name of that company, to invest into 20 or 30 of those companies, because many of them will now make it for various reasons. And discipline, it's something that we try to bring in. We also we've been working with a lot of corporates in the past. They unfortunately don't have that much discipline. And the conflict there is that for venture capital investing, you need about 7 to 10 years. And the manager typically, when it's a listed company, his horizon, is rather 1 or 2 quarters. So that's just a mismatch there. But still, corporates are important in the venture capital ecosystem. We have lots of family offices more and more investing in venture capital, and also individuals. For those, it's still quite difficult if they are not willing to invest, big amounts, like 100,000 or $1 million at least. There are different ways now, and we also, we have the different VC funds investing in different structures or different industries. So we have a feeder fund that we're introducing. So if anyone, for instance, working for a bank and wants to provide access to venture capital to his clients, that's also a way how we want to offer this asset class to a broader investor type.
Thank you very much.